All right, we're live.
Here we are
James
in the
Eng,
studio.
James Wilson, coming today. And so, what are we going through today, James?
We're going to be going over different loan options for a deal. Basically, go through all the different financing options and what it looks like when you put the debt on each debt piece on the deal that we're going over.
Okay, all right, and then so we're gonna take like a $10 million deal and sort of run it through 4 or 5 different scenarios and see which one comes out the best. And we'll, for the people on live, we'll get some interaction, some questions for you guys. So if you're watching, maybe just drop in the chat, where you're dialing in or streaming in from, while I get the slides up here, and we'll start going. So here, let me pull open the deck.
I'm coming in live from Dallas, uptown.
Uptown. All right, nice. All right, let's see.
You're coming in from Frisco.
All right. Can you see that all right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So here are the 5 loan types that we're going to run through today. So we got the bank loan on the left, Freddie Mac SBL, Freddie Mac conventional, Fannie Mae, and then non-recourse bridge. So those are the ones. Hey Tyler, thanks for jumping on, coming in from Kansas City. So we'll make sure you get some barbecue after this. And we got George coming in from Indianapolis. George, what's some good food out in Indianapolis? I haven't been to Indianapolis, so I'm not sure what the good food is out there. But all right, so we're gonna do bank loan, Freddie Mac SBL, Freddie Mac conventional, Fannie Mae, and a non-recourse bridge. How are we? I guess qualified to talk about this. We'll go through a couple of slides. So we did 1.2 billion in multifamily loans in 2022. In Q1, we did about 160 million across 1,700 units, a lot of Fannie and Freddie. I've done about 750 million in commercial real estate, which is sort of office, industrial, retail. I was at GE as an underwriter, and then the last 7-8 years, really been focused on multifamily. Done about 1.5 billion in multifamily loans, and then we also have a big conference coming up in October. So if you're not registered for this is in person. This will not be on Zoom. Do not show up on Zoom for this one, or live on YouTube. But the Old Capital Conference will have 500 plus there at the Old Capital Conference. So it looks like Garnett joining us from Irving. Thanks for coming on, Garnett. So this is going to be close to you down in left field. We got Patrick from San Antonio, and then we got Elvis out of Michigan. All right, so we got a pretty good range. And then I guess when we go to Indianapolis, we're gonna have to try out this seafood place, James, next time we're up there.
Caplinger.
Have you been there or no? Have you been there? No. All right. So let's go into the deal setup here. So $10 million deal, 500,000 in rehab, and then 100 units. Going in cap is 575. How does that? Is 575 pretty good right now? If we can get that.
Yeah, I would say 575 is a good cap rate right now.
All right, and
looks like a C class if it's 100,000 a door though. So maybe it's
100,000 a door right now. Yeah,
par.
So probably a B minus C deal. We did 50% 1 bedrooms, 50% 2s, and occupancy right now is 93%. So just looking at this deal setup, I mean, you guys, some of you guys, we got some other people coming in from California and Michigan. What do you guys think is the best loan for this property and why? So we've got, you remember we looked at this at the beginning. So we got the bank loan, we got Freddie Mac SBL, we got Fannie Mae, and we got non-recourse bridge. What are you guys thinking on this deal? What's the best loan? Here we go. Sorry. What's the best loan for this property out there? So put in the chat, what loan do you think the bank loan's the best? Should we go Fannie? Should we go Freddie? Should we go non-recourse bridge? based on this setup, I gave you a limited amount of information, but based on this setup, what do you think the best loan option here for this property is? And we'll sort of reveal that at the end of the show here as we go through it. And while you guys are thinking about the best loan option, we got we had someone ask about the presentation. Yeah, you can send us an email, either James Eng or James Wilson, and we'll send over the presentation and then also the spreadsheet that we're going to be using to sort of underwrite this deal. And so we got Patrick's thinking Fannie Freddie right now. Anybody else? Any other comments right now on Fannie Freddie, or think the bank loan or bridge loan might be better on this particular deal? All right, while we're waiting on comments. So James, maybe go through some of the underwriting items that you would need to underwrite this deal. So I've sort of set the deal up in the model that we're going to pull up, but maybe go through the underwriting items that we would need.
Yeah, we're going to need the T12 so that we can look at the profit and loss statement of the property. So that's going to get us our NOI that we're going to use to size the deal.
All right. And then what else?
We're going to need a rent roll to see if that 93% occupancy is true.
Okay.
Just to see what's going on with the rent roll and where rents are at. We're going to need the address of the property.
Okay.
Where it's located. If it's in a good location, you probably get good financing. If it's in a bad location, you might have trouble getting some bridge loans. The spread might be a little bit higher for a little bit riskier area.
Okay, so you maybe also would check. So you maybe crime.
Yeah, Google the property, see if there's any shootings on the property or any crime.
All right, and then maybe check the visibility from the street, like if you're going to get any drive-by traffic, and then also check the FEMA maps to see
if it's in a flood zone.
Yeah. Okay. So sort of, all right, let's pretend we plugged in all those things, and so let's just jump into this deal and see what we can. All right, here we go. Let's see if we can show. All right, so let's go
the CapEx budget as well.
All right, let's plug this in. Let's go to the Excel file here. All right, can you see the Excel there?
Yeah.
All right, so I plugged in some of the items here. So let's take what's the first loan that you want to do?
It looks like you got a bridge loan in there, or I guess depending on the NOI, but.
All right, let's go.
Or bank recourse.
Yeah, let's do bank. Let's do a bank loan. So maybe talk about the bank loan. What's the typical setup on a bank loan?
Yeah, so typical setup, the first thing you need to know is that it's a recourse loan. So that's going to be personal liability. You're going to be signing on the loan. And if the loan defaults, they're going to be looking at your personal assets to help cover some of the losses. So that's the first thing to know about bank recourse loan. You got the LTV of 70%. I would say that's pretty average right now. It can go up to 75%, but banks are being a little bit more conservative, so I would say 70%. And they're really kind of underwriting to at least a 1.0 cover, and a lot of them do a 1.25 debt service coverage ratio now.
Yeah.
So it's something to look out for. They used to do, I don't know if they're still doing this, but they would kind of do like a global cash flow. So if you have a strong business that cash flows, it could be additional collateral to help get a higher LTV. You got the interest rate. So yeah, prime rate's 8.25%. Prime rate is what the banks give their best borrowers. So that's going to be the going interest rate.
Okay.
Interest only 3 years. I'd say that's pretty good.
Yeah, maybe not even
like
3 years. Maybe like 1 year.
Yeah.
1 year. 1 year.
12 to 24 months.
Yeah.
and then long term, 3 to 5 years. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So this is sort of the setup. recourse bank loan. So let's drop it into the Excel and just sort of see what we're going to do is we're going to paste the returns down here at the bottom. So you should be able to see the Excel now. So we got 10 million, we said 70%, 825. Oh yeah, we forgot to touch on the amortization. So what's the amortization usually on the bank loan?
25 years.
25-year. Okay. So I'll drop that into the chart. So amortization.
And I'm still trying
years.
to figure out why they do 25 versus 30.
Well, so a lot of times banks actually want to be paid back in full eventually. So they usually actually do a longer loan term, but they'll fix it for 3 to 5 years, and then it'll flip over back to floating. So they'll usually give you like a 25-year loan, and they want it fully amortizing, similar to like a residential mortgage. Mm-hmm. So that's why they usually stick with the 25, and some even do 20. So
yeah, I've seen some lower before too.
So the older the property, like say a 1960s, 1970s property, they'd probably want 20-year am on that guy. So, all right, let's go to 1 year IO on this one. So we did 100 units. Let's talk about closing costs here. What's usually in that closing cost number?
Yeah, so for fixed rate, the closing cost is going to be around 3%. So 1% origination fee for the lender, 1% broker fee for the brokers, and then 1% is going to include all your additional costs like third parties, legal, survey, appraisal, and whatnot. So that comes out to about 3% of the loan. So yeah, you got it there.
Okay. Working capital.
Working capital, that could be, a little bit lighter. What do we say, 500,000 in rehab?
Yeah, so I stuck probably the rehab and the and just sort of like your startup money right here.
Okay. Yep.
So yeah, I just made it 6%, so 600,000. Reversion cap 5.5. I think that might be a little bit aggressive, but I think we'll just leave it for now.
Lower than the going in.
Yeah. So usually you want this 50 basis points higher than you're going in. I think in terms of market, let's say market's 5.5 to 575 right now. So this is pretty tight right now, but should we increase that? Let's go ahead.
Let's do 6. Yeah.
6. Oh man, you're
just
gonna
so it's higher.
You're gonna kill my returns. You're gonna kill my returns. All right, I'm gonna make it a little better. All right, cost of sale. What's that?
Broker fee on the sale.
Right.
Maybe a disposition fee.
Okay. And then sponsor comp. So we're taking 20% of the deal as a GP. You get an acquisition fee of 2%, and then asset management fee of 1%. So reversion cap was 6%. So let's come down here. So we had the rents. So we plugged in the rents at 1,000. Right now we bumped it $50, and then it was $1,250 on the twos. We bumped it to 1,300. All right. So expenses on a 100-unit deal, we did management fee of 4%, which is pretty standard. If you go up to 200 units, you can probably get up to 3%. G&A, we had 650, payroll 1,400, utilities was T12 80,000, R&M at 90,000. So we just rolled all the water and sewer into this as well, the 80,000. Insurance 800 a door, and then taxes we did 90% of the 10 million at 2.5%, and then we had replacement reserves. So let's see. All right, let's go up here. So here's the cash flows on the right-hand side. So we did 1.4 million, sort of top line. Net rental was 1.2, and then we plugged other income at 125, which was T12. So total expenses, we were about total income was 1.3, total expenses 763. So your NOI was 574. So we bought this deal for 10 million, right? So you're at the 575 cap right now.
Yeah.
But then your debt service cover is 1.0. So is that going to fly? Is 1.0 going to fly?
You're going to have to find an aggressive bank, and you're going to have a high cash flowing business on the side.
Okay. So you're going to have to have good global cash flow somewhere else.
Yeah. But they're probably going to bump that loan proceeds down.
Oh, you think you're gonna take the loans down? Okay. All right. Do you think there's anywhere else? We're gonna probably have to increase this up a little bit
Let's
because
get that
returns.
reversion cap rate down to 4%.
You can't just drop. Yeah, you can't drop the reversion cap rate. Maybe in the comments, any help for this deal? Do you see anything on the sheet that we could push on out there? I mean, this rent. Let's see, 1,050 for 700 square feet. That's like $1.50 in rent per square foot per month.
We get some
Um,
more rent. Yeah.
yeah, maybe. All right, let's crank the rent up. Maybe we'll go $100. So now you're at 108. That feels a little bit better. Expense ratio is 55%. Um,
Could we cut back on some expenses?
let's see. I'm probably not going to cut back on taxes or insurance. We maybe trim R&M a little bit. Maybe go 75 and maybe go 125 on payroll. We're at 53%, so it's feeling a little bit better. All right. All right, let's check the return here. So not bad. So we're at 64% total return, 10% IRR. Cash on cash is super light just because of the debt service cover, right? So your passive cash flow right here is about 1% each year. In the sponsor comp, you'll make about $1 million on this deal, and you'll need to raise about 4.1 million on this one. So let's plug it in. So I'm going to go back to.
So does anybody want to invest for 1.5% cash flow and 5-year return of 64%?
So what I've seen usually on bank loans is usually the cash on cash going in is a little bit lighter, but then you're making it up on the backside, right? So if you're able to really grow NOI from 650 to 830, right, and then you sell this thing at 14 million here, that's where you're making a lot of your return.
Tyler said no, doesn't want to invest.
Based on the average cash on cash. I
Yeah.
get that. Yeah. I mean, this one's going to be more of a reversion, right? You've got to come in and bump the rents at least $100 on all the units,
Yeah.
and then get it up from there, and then you're able to sell it. You know, you bought it for 10, you put $500,000 in, so you're all in at 10 and a half down here on the sources and uses. I guess you're all in at 11 million, and then you sell it for 14. So once you sell it for 14, that's where you're making your big pop. You're buying it for 100 a door, and then you're selling for 140 a door. So, all right, we're gonna keep those. So let's see here. Let's go back. So we're gonna keep that. So we're gonna plug that into the spreadsheet here.
Kind of keep that pro forma and then use different loan amounts.
Yeah. We're all right. So now we're gonna plug in. All right, so we're gonna drop this in here. So you see that in the bottom. So 64% total return and 1.5% cash on cash on the bank loan. All right, let's flip over. So Freddie Mac SBL. All right, tell me about Freddie Mac SBL. What are we thinking on Freddie Mac SBL?
Freddie SBL, well, the max we can go is 7.5 million, but based on the DSCR, it's probably going to be about 60% LTV, 55 to 60%, because they need a 1.25 debt service coverage. The bank gave us a little bit of extra leverage based on global cash flow, but the agencies will not give up on this 1.25 debt service coverage. Interest rate a little bit higher, 6%. Looks good. They're going to base that off the spread over the 10-year.
And then what about IO?
Depending on, experience, right? If it's an experienced borrower, they might give them some more, but yeah, 1 to 3 years based on new sponsor.
And what about amortization?
30 years.
30-year AM. And then this is going to be a non-recourse loan.
Yeah, so no personal liability.
And then I guess the one other thing on Freddie SBL is that, so on like Fannie, they usually have a maturity date, so hard maturity. So you can either do they have two programs. They have just like a fixed with sort of a hard maturity at 5, 7, or 10 year, or you can do what's called a hybrid. And this is going to be a 5. You can do like a fixed portion plus a float. And then this can be up to 20 years on the loan term.
Have you seen any deals that have been out for more than 10 years on Freddie SPL?
No, so I started in multifamily financing in 2015. So it's only been 8 years. So and Freddie SBL actually, like, I think started in like 17 or 18. So it's a relatively newer program. So yeah, there's no deals that are out into the float period unless they did a 5.
We'll check back on the live in 2027.
Yeah, unless they did a 5. So all right, let's go. Let's flip over to the Excel. All right, so what are we changing now? So we've got 10 million. Price is the same. Loan amount. What
60.
What
60%.
What was the interest rate?
Interest rate was 6%.
6%. All right, IO. Let's say we're doing just let's say
2
3. Yeah, 10-year loan. Amortization 30. Closing costs, working capital is the same. This is going to stay the same. All right, let's keep the underwriting pretty
Looks
much
like
the same.
The debt service coverage passes.
Well, debt service coverage is 182, but that's on IO. So let's just check real quick. I did not do this, but let's say there's no IO. So yeah, I mean it would still cover at 150.
So we get a little bit higher loan, maybe 65%.
Okay. I guess those rents. So this is where people get confused, I think, sometimes, is so that year one pro forma is based off of these new rents.
Oh, okay, yeah. So that's
right.
That's
but
not in place.
Yeah, but your current rent, let's say your in-place rents were here. So I don't have an in-place rent column, but Freddie's going to look at the in-place rents on a T3 and annualize that number. So net rental on a T3. So that's going to actually, this is a more accurate debt service coverage at 128.
Okay, so 60% leverage is right.
Yeah, so let's just keep that there. Okay, all right. So now we're going through. Expenses are essentially the same. I'm trying to think if they're going to change anything on this side. All right, so we've got a little bit lower leverage, lower interest rate though, 30-year AM. Let's go to 3 years IO, like we said. All right, let's check. All right, so now we've got, so you need to bring a little bit more money to the table, right? You're bringing that 5.1 compared to before. You remember what the bank loan, how much money we needed?
We needed 4.1.
Yeah, so you need to bring $1 million more, right? So that 10% lower leverage, returns about the same, 64%, and then IRR is 11, but your cash on cash is 5, right? So you get a little bit more along the way on the cash on cash versus it all being on the backside of the deal. And then you're still selling it for 14 million there. So, all right, let's plug that guy in. Any other comments on Freddie SBL while I plug that one?
No
Anything
comment.
else? No comment. No comments on your side. All right, so let's flip back. Let's go. All right, let's go back to the PowerPoint and then let's take a look. All right, so we've got. So that was Freddie SBL. We needed 5.1 million in equity, and then we've got about 5% cash on cash and 11. So does that make people feel better in terms of if you saw a deal, you got 5% cash on cash, 11% IRR in comparison to 64%, and then you only had 1.5% cash on cash. So let us know in the comments if someone was doing Freddie Mac SBL. Does that make you feel better? that you're going to get paid sort of along the way. All right, let's go over the Fannie. So we're doing a lot of Fannie right now. Let's go through. All right, so we got LTV 65%. What is that based off of?
That's based off the same thing, 125 debt service coverage, but the interest rate's 0.5% lower, so maybe you can get a little bit higher leverage.
Okay.
Yeah, 10 years around 3.5%. So spread is about 2%. So yeah, interest rate's 5.5%.
Okay, so 10-year Treasury is 10-year Treasury right now is 5.5.
3.5.
Yeah. So yeah, okay. The rate's about 5.5. So add 2% on that. All right, and then IO.
Say 5 years.
5 years on a 5-year term.
Let's do 10-year or 7-year term.
Okay, so 5 years. So this is going to be based on DSC and LTV. All right. What else? What else on Fannie?
Looking for that 125. We got that. Amortization's 30 years.
Okay.
IO's 5. I think that's pretty much it. Yield maintenance penalty, we got to kind of factor in there.
All right. Non-recourse, yes. All right. So prepay is going to be. So let's maybe go back to Freddie Mac SBL. What's the prepay typically on Freddie SBL?
It's a step down.
Step down. All right. Payment, step down here. All right. And then on the Fannie, it's going to, I mean, you can do step down, but it's usually higher interest rate.
Mm-hmm.
And then yield maintenance. Okay. Anything else on Fannie?
Now let's look at it in the returns.
All right, so we got so we're getting close. Kind of getting closer. So I mean, it's 60%, 10% IRR, and Patrick is still. Patrick, in the comments, maybe put what you would want to see, and what was the quote, James, that you sent me from that one guy that was like, I haven't seen more fiction written except in Excel the last couple of years or something.
Yeah.
So right.
I've seen more fiction written in Excel than Word in the last 2 years.
Crushing. All right. Let's go back up. All right. So Fannie Mae this time we got 10 mil. All right. What's the leverage that we were going
65.
with? 65. And that was really because of the debt service cover.
Yeah, because of lower interest rate. So
you can cover a little bit more. Okay.
The debt payment will be the same. Reverse engineered, the debt payment will be the same, but because the interest rate's lower, you can afford a little bit more. So
a little bit more loan amount. Yeah. Okay.
5 years IO.
5 years IO, 30-year AM. This is going to stay the same. So this is probably where we probably need to. I guess we should just be a comedy show out there. So yeah, I mean, all right. Patrick's saying 8 cash on cash and 15 IRR. So Patrick, at the end, we're gonna keep the underwriting the same, just so that the loan amounts are the same and everything. But I will get you 8% cash on cash and 15% IRR. I promise by the end. So okay. All right. So let's go back here. So all right, sponsor comp, same. Okay, so we got 1,100. Nothing changed on the expense.
Can write a good story in Excel, right?
Yeah. So let's just check. I did like this check on the dropping it back to the current rent. So we've got a little bit more.
You gotta put 0 IO too.
Oh yeah, 0 IO. There you go.
Just to make sure that it's amortizing.
Look at that. Like
Boom.
we aren't making this up here. If we go back to the current, we do 5.5, and then we use the current rents, in place rents, and then we got the other income. Like we can't come up with a better scenario here. So 125 cover. All right,
As
so
the max loan amount that they would
max
give.
loan amount 6.5. So hopefully everyone gets that because I mean, how many times do we get questions on that, James? Like, wait a second, what? Just give me 80% leverage. Like, why can't you just
Yeah,
give me 80%? Like, this is the reason why. So you look at your current rents. So our current rents are $1,000, 1,250. You plug
yeah,
in your pro
because
forma.
you can't change NOI, you can't
Yeah,
change the interest rate,
yeah.
you can't change what else?
So it's just
Yeah,
math.
yeah, it's reverse engineered. They're just stuck to a formula, basically.
So, all right. So now so we plugged in all that stuff. We got 5.5, we got 6.5, or sorry, 6.5 million in loan amount. We're going to keep the underwriting the same just to keep everyone the same. So this is the one thing. So since we did Fannie Mae, should we put in a higher cost to sell here, you think? Just because of the yield maintenance? What do you think?
Yeah, we could
Yeah.
bake in some of that prepay penalty. Let's say we did a 7-year loan and we sold in year 4.
Yeah.
So
So we got a year.
a couple percent maybe.
All right, let's go 4. Ooh, that hurts. That hurts a lot. So to be fair to the Fannie Mae loan, we didn't really bake in any additional prepay on that SBL loan either.
All right, let's just do a 5-year
Just do a flat 2%
Fannie
then.
and then no prepay penalty.
Oh, this is a 5-year? All right, let's maybe drop this down to 3 years IO then.
Okay.
But yeah, 5-year term, 3 years.
We hold
IO.
we hold it full term.
4.5 year. Yeah, hold it full term, 4.5. So
we're still
okay.
down.
Oh, you know why this is off? The rents are back. The rents got crushed. Okay, all right. Here we go. All right, so now we're back. Okay,
nice.
so 71. All right, 71%. It's not bad. Total 12.5 IRR.
If you extend that out to 7 years, you could get a 2x.
Oh, if you held it for 7 years?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm seeing a lot of people presenting some deals right now. Well, there's not a lot of deals being offered out there, but some of them I'm seeing they're doing that extended hold just to get that 2x. Okay. And then if there's any drop in cap rates during that time, then that'll come quicker.
This is assuming 6% reversion right now. So, all right. Is this now? Are people? Is this getting closer? We're at 4.6 on the initial equity raise. You've got this is sort of in between, right? So you're getting the benefit of the lower interest rate. You're getting the benefit of sort of no prepay or limited prepay on it. So let's go back to the Excel real quick. Sorry, the PowerPoint. All right, so I dropped that in. So we've got, so just to remind everyone, so 4.6 initial investment, 71%, 12% IRR. All right, Patrick was saying 8% cash on cash and a 15 IRR. So we're not quite to the 8% cash on cash or the 15% IRR quite yet. But I mean, so it's a little, so you have to raise a little bit less money because you got 65% LTV and your interest rate was lower than Freddie Mac SBL on that one. So, all right, let's go. Anything else on Fannie Mae, or do you want to jump over to the
last Freddie one? Mac, or we're doing a bridge.
We're going to we're going non-recourse bridge next. So we're going non-recourse bridge. So tell me about non-recourse bridge.
They like to do the best way that I think you can describe non-recourse bridge is they like to do the pro forma DSCR. So they like to say, you're going to hit that 1.25 DSCR cover in year 3. So we're going to base that LTV on the pro forma.
Okay, so so you're anywhere from 70 to 75% of purchase price, and then 100% of the rehab, and then what's the interest rate right now?
For a fixed, it's about 8.5. For a
Okay.
floater, it's about 400 plus SOFR, so that would be 9.05%.
All right. Yeah, I've seen a lot of people. Let's just say 3.5 to
All right.
4. So a lot of people I'm seeing like, all right, the spread is 3.5 or 375, and then what they're doing is they're buying a 1% cap on SOFR.
Which
So
is gonna
it's a
put
big
it at
number.
like 5%.
5% of the loan amount or so. So if you go on like Pinsford's website, you can look it up, but they're buying a cap so that they're all in at 4.5 to 5%
Are
for
they
the
buying
first
that
3 years.
for 2 years or?
3 years typically.
All right,
3
so let's do
years.
7.5, 3 years, 1% strike, and that's gonna cost you 600,000.
I think let's run it both ways because I'm
Okay.
seeing this a lot more. I want to highlight that because I think that's a strategy that I've seen multiple people use. All right, loan term is how long?
3 years with 2 1-year extensions.
Okay, and then amortization on this guy or
30-year.
okay.
And interest only the whole time.
All right, so let's flip back over to the bridge, or sorry, to the Excel, and then let's take a look.
1% prepay.
1% prepay. Right. Okay. Let's go back. All right. Let's start at the top. So are we going all the way up? What's the
80
leverage on this guy?
80%.
80%.
No, let's do 75. No one's really going 80. And
All
I
right,
think 75 is
75.
stretching it.
All right. And then the rehab, how much is that?
That's
500 grand?
100%. Yeah.
All right. So this one, we'll just go to 80. So if we do 80 on the 10.5, that ends up being about the same. So we did 75. Let's see, 75% of, so it'd be 7.5 million. So we need a loan amount of about 8 million. I think that's what somebody would probably do right now in today's market. Just doing sort of baking in. So that's 75% of purchase plus 100% of rehab. So 7.5 million plus the 500,000.
Okay.
Interest rate, what do we say?
8.5.
8.5. So that's on a fixed deal. 3 years IO, amortization 30, closing costs, working capital. So we can bring this down now.
To 1%.
1%. Yeah. Okay. And then reversion cap, cost of sale, that all stays the same. All right. So debt service cover year 1. What are we at? 0.96.
We're good.
Is that all you need?
Wait for that first rent bump. We'll be at a 1.0.
Okay. So by year 3, we're still struggling a little bit. So on a lot of these, let's just go with 5 years IO on this guy.
Yeah.
There's a lot of the
full term
IO. All right. Let's scroll down to the bottom here. We're gonna keep the underwriting. Okay, so now you only got to raise 3.1 million, right? Because you're getting higher leverage plus 100% of the rehab. So your return is about the same. Cash on cash along the way is not good. 1.1%. So what do you think? What do you think of this? Is that pretty accurate, or should we try to mess with, let's drop this into the PowerPoint. This is just sort of if you did a fixed rate.
Yeah, I think it's accurate along with the other deals that we did.
Yeah, it's about the same, right?
Same guidelines.
All right, so let's try to do let's try to write some fiction here and try. So a lot of people are saying, all right, can we just so I was not prepared for this, but let's just try it. Is all right. Look up here. We'll do it. We'll just do it live here. All right. So we're gonna do. Let's pull up. Let's go to Pensford. JP was just if you missed the live with JP, I thought it was pretty good. We went through sort of the latest Fed meeting minutes. So you can go to, let's go here. All right, Pinsford, cap rate pricer. All right, so what was the loan amount? 8 million that we had on this guy?
8 million. Yep.
8 million. All right, so we got to download the little pricer. Is it there? All right, here we go. All right, we might have to just. I don't think this is showing up. Let's go to the chat of interest rate calculator.
He's not going to be happy.
Yeah. So there's two places you can go. You can see the whole thing a little bit easier here. So, all right. So we had, what was the total loan amount? 8 million?
8 million. Yeah.
All right. The $8 million, 3 years strike. What do we want to use for our strike?
1%.
1% strike. Oh man, we're getting tight here. All right. So we've got to come up with $645,000 up front, but that's going to lower our rate to, let's say
5%.
5%.
Or 4.5%. Yeah.
All right. Let's flip back over to the Excel.
Let's say we used old capital and they got us a really low spread.
What was the spread?
3.5%.
3.5. Okay. All right. So the loan amount's the same. So interest rate now is what?
4.5%.
4.5. Okay. So we bought it. We bought a tight strike. And then, but our closing cost, it was 3%. Now what is it?
It's 7%.
Or higher. So we've got to add the cost of the cap here. So the cost of the cap was
it's $645,000.
Yeah, so we got to have $1 million in closing cost. So we got to take that to 10 mil. But we 10%. Got 4.5. Let's just assume, I'm making the assumption that in year 3, 4, or 5, or sorry, 4 and 5, that the rates, the SOFR is going to be low. So I'm just going to keep the rate at 4.5 for the whole time. Should we go down? What are you thinking? Is this better or worse?
I think it's worse, but
okay, so
looks like it's better.
All right, so Patrick, we're getting close to that cash on cash, right? So you wanted the 8% cash on cash. So you see how the cash on cash is now 7.6, but you're having to raise that additional money, right? So you're having to raise the additional money. So let's drop that into the Excel, the PowerPoint here.
What if we did a 2-year strike?
In terms of the cost?
Yeah, instead of 3 years. And then we just hold out and hope that it goes. Just go back down in 2 years. Yeah, we just.
What's the cost? What's the cost?
500,000.
500,000. Okay. We already got too many scenarios, I think, on this guy.
So we'll
Well, let's just go. All right. So let me just compare these two because I think this is pretty interesting, right? So you've got the 3.12. The IRR is 11.3, but then on this one, you're almost getting. So when you look at these two, what looks better?
The right, 100%. You always wanted some cash flow.
Yeah. So I guess you're just sort of you're having to raise more money though.
Yeah.
So this is the 8.5 fixed. So this is 8.5% fixed on this side on the bridge. So
I mean, I guess it depends on how comfortable the sponsorship team is with covering those debt payments. Like, if they can cover it, no problem. They get extra reserves. Might not be a big deal, but having that extra cash cushion is always nice, and it's what I think a lot of investors look for.
Yeah. So so let's go over to. I mean, I've probably seen at least 2 or 3 deals that are structured this way on the right. In terms of average cash on cash to get there. Patrick, if you're still on, does that make you comfortable if someone's buying a cap and then getting to that cash on cash of 8%. So let's see if we go back to the Excel real quick. So let's look at this. Let's make sure we did the numbers right here. So we got 4.5. So we're assuming a 3.5% strike. So this is a way of sort of artificially lowering your interest rate for 3 years, right? You're essentially getting a fixed rate for 3 years, but then you're getting higher loan proceeds, so you don't have to raise as much capital. Because on the Fannie and Freddie, we were at like 60%, right? And then your debt service is pretty low right now. It's 359, right? Because you've sort of, at closing, you've sort of prepaid some of the interest for the next 2 or 3 years. All right, let's jump in. All right, let's compile the results here.
All right.
And see what we got here.
Final Jeopardy.
Final Jeopardy. So, all right. So bank loan. So this was bank loan. Let's drop that in. So that was 4.1. 64%. Cash on cash was a little bit light. Freddie Mac SBL. So Freddie Mac SBL, you probably needed the most money. Let me just move this out of the way. All right, so bank loan, let's put it up here. Bank loan was here, Freddie Mac SBL, Fannie. All right, let's go get the Fannie one. And then non-recourse bridge. Non-recourse bridge, we sort of had two scenarios here. So that was just a fixed deal, and then this was the. All right, can you see that? All right, let me try to fix that one up a little bit.
Yeah, the bonus bridge.
Bonus This is the one down here. All right, so let's see. This is the 8.5 fixed. All right, I was not prepared to run that different scenario, but that actually is a good.
It's a good comparison.
It's a good comparison of the two. Okay, so let's just run through these. Can you see it all right?
Yeah.
All right. So we got the bank loan at 4.1. You've got 1.5% cash on cash was a little bit light, but you're only having to raise 4.1. Freddie Mac SBL, you're having to raise 5.1. IRR is about 11. Cash on cash is better. Fannie Mae, you get a little bit better. You're at 5.7. Cash on cash, 71%. Non-recourse bridge, you're having to raise a little bit less money, but your cash on cash is getting destroyed in on that one at 1%. And then, so I don't know, which one are you thinking?
I'm thinking the bridge with the cap, the 1% strike.
This guy's a high flyer, huh? We're just going straight after the bridge money. This guy's going for the bridge money.
7% cash on cash. And
What are you guys thinking across the board here? I don't know, Patrick, are you still on? Is that good enough to hold on to? So we got, all right. So bank loan, you're thinking cash on cash is too low out there.
Too low, and it's recourse. So.
It's recourse. All right. So Freddie Mac SBL.
Too big of a raise for the deal size.
All right, you're doing $5.1 million raise for a $10 million deal. Just too much of a heavy lift.
Too much, yeah.
All right, and then so let's go Fannie. Fannie's sort of in between these two, right?
Yeah, Fannie's always a good option for deals.
And then, I mean, you have to remember, so Fannie is going to have that prepay penalty, but it's also going to have a little bit more term on it too, right? So
yeah.
All right, and the
I mean,
non
Fannie Mae with cash reserves, you almost can't get in trouble unless you just really screw it up with
yeah,
operations.
operation issue. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, and then non-recourse bridge. All right, George is saying
Bridge it
bridge.
is.
Bridge, George, is it the fixed bridge or is it the by the cap? By the cap, in the money cap is what they call it, in the money cap. Patrick, so we got the summary up here. Hopefully you can see it. I'm sorry you're on your iPhone. Hopefully you can see the screen. But yeah, all right. So and then I guess the other thing that we have to adjust on the non-recourse bridge also is the closing costs probably are even a little bit higher because you remember non-recourse bridge they're gonna probably want to go a little bit higher on legal.
Yeah, the lawyers are going to go back and forth for about 4 weeks. Just
and nothing changes. Nothing changes.
200-page loan documents that they're just marking up with their red pens and charging you.
All right. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, no changes on the loan docs. They just give a thumbs up and move on. All right. So George is saying the cap, the non-recourse bridge with the cap. I'm wondering, the non-recourse bridge with a cap almost looks too good. Like I feel like
did we make a mistake somewhere?
Yeah, I'm making a mistake somewhere. But yeah, no, I get it. I mean, it does look good. Tyler's saying first place is going to the SOFR.
I think he's talking about the cap.
Yeah. This guy down here on the bottom, non-recourse bridge with the SOFR fixed. Yep. And then going up to Fannie for second place. All right, Patrick, if plug in 15%. Okay. All right. Yeah, that's even a better idea. Patrick is saying, let's figure out. So keep it the same, and then figure out what price we can go back. I mean, the reality though is that it's an in place 575. So that's what's hard is like is a seller going to go and sell this deal?
Cap.
Yeah. So
they bought it at a 4 a couple years ago.
Yeah. So let's go back and let's see what price. So to hit that, so let's go. Do you want to stick with this? So how do we get to a 15% IRR?
We lower
probably got to drop this down.
Rate.
No, without adjusting. Like if you feel like the 6% reversion cap rate is the right cap rate, then you've got to adjust the price, right? So let's go down 9.5. NOI is the same. Boom.
So
there you go.
9 point.
Yeah, you're at 14.9 on the IRR at that point with that adjustment to price. So we're off about 500,000 on the price if you want that 15% IRR. And then your cash on cash goes to 8%. So there you go, Patrick. The magic. Now we just got to convince the seller to sell it to me for 9.5.
9.5.
9.5. 95 a door. Is anything going off at 95 a door right now?
No.
Nothing's going off.
The brokers say that the cap rate is temporary, but the basis is forever.
Yeah. So, but all right, I'm going to save this version. I think we hit, let's go back to the PowerPoint, see if there's anything else that ended up going. We added some different scenarios on there that I wasn't ready for, but I think it worked out well. We had to crank it up a little bit on the returns, but let's see. All right, that's too big. I can't see it. All right. So we ran through. All right, that was all right. So I think we're good. That's the setup. So I'm gonna remove some of these old ones that I had previous. I think we're gonna call it a wrap. Any questions from people out there? I know we went through that. painstakingly, a little bit slower than usual, but hopefully it made sense as we sort of went along and sort of started with the $10 million deal and sort of worked our way through it, made some adjustments to NOI, to
No, I think it's good. I think it shows, you know, we're constantly learning as we're fiddling with these numbers too and trying to see what works. And so I feel like anybody listening or watching that, you know, if you go through deals like this and you learn a lot just by underwriting and going step by step.
Yeah, you've got to underwrite deals.
The more you do, you learn something from every deal.
Right. So if you want the deck or you want the Excel, feel free to send us an email. James, maybe drop your email in the comments here, and then feel free to reach out to us. We appreciate it. We try to bring you value every week. If you want more of this, definitely like the video, subscribe to the channels, and we will try to bring you this every week, different things, but over the summer we'll be a little bit lighter. So in May we'll try to come to you every week in May though. But yeah, definitely send us ideas of the stuff to cover, or even deals that you want us to cover, or things like that. We can try to do as much as possible. But we appreciate everyone jumping on. And James and I have got a lunch with a lender here in like 20 minutes, so we got to run.
We gotta go.
Appreciate everyone jumping on, and we'll see you next week.
All right, thanks guys.
All right, see you guys.